Hello everybody, my name is Tommi Kulokoski and I will tell you how well machine learning can teach humans about machine learning. The structure of the thesis is as follows. First off, I'll introduce the theme, go through the objective of the thesis, go through the methods used, the results gained, and finally to what conclusions we arrived to. Public interest towards AI and ML has increased in the recent years, with ChatGPT being among the most prominent AI applications, even being the most viewed English Wikipedia article of 2023. That being the case, there is interest towards evaluating how ChatGPT could be used for different tasks. Which leads us to the objective of this thesis. How well can machine learning teach humans about machine learning? More specifically, the objective was to assess to what degree GPT-4-based ChatGPT could be applied to implement the translation transformer model. The primary focus was on exploring ChatGPT's potential in learning and teaching deep learning concepts, which previously hadn't been done. To achieve this in practice, ChatGPT was used for guidance in constructing, training, and evaluating a transformer model. The specific task chosen in this case was a machine translation model from French to English. As for the methods used, to check the accessibility of the procedure, certain conditions were set, such as only using a relatively normal desktop and starting with minimal pre-existing knowledge of ChatGPT, transformers, and relevant libraries. Additionally, ChatGPT should be used as much in isolation as possible to determine how good of a tool it is by itself. Evaluation of the model implementation process would consist of analyzing the interactions between ChatGPT and the user and the resulting model's performance. First, about the interactions. The evaluation of the interactions was split into two categories, namely quantifiable statistics such as error rates and thematic frequencies, and human impressions, consisting of natural impressions gained from interactions and induced impressions created by testing specific types of prompts. As for the code for the model was implemented by following a top-down design, with first prompting for the general architecture of the transformer. ChatGPT was then prompted for the respective code for each part, after which the model was completed by combining the parts. After completion, the model was trained and evaluated, where evaluation was based on different metrics, such as test accuracy and the bilingual evaluation understudy score, and also by looking at the test translations. Now to the results. First of the results of the process acquired from the interactions. The positives included that ChatGPT was capable of answering questions with multiple conditions, answering detailed queries, and answering multilingual queries where some languages had more specific answers, such as English. Error outputs could also be used as inputs, where clarification was needed in case of ambiguity. It could answer questions regarding the theme of transformers well. For the model itself, ChatGPT provided multiple useful helper functions and recommended parameters to improve the performance. As for the learning concepts, it was able to explain key parts of answers, synthesize information, rephrase and summarize text, and correct the mistakes it made when the user pointed it out. Sometimes it would correct a mistake in its answer, which was actually true from the beginning, which was not desirable, as it could basically be convinced to trust the false statement. While the combining of the model parts was the task facing most difficulties, error handling was relatively simple, which might have been due to a good provided template, good debugging recommendations, or simply due to being lucky to have easy errors to solve. There were problems with context consistency, which means that it couldn't reliably use complex or specific context from previous queries, while it generally seemed to apply simple context well. Another challenge was keeping the growing amount of context in every query. It also answered ambiguous queries by guessing, which should rather be handled by asking for clarification. Also, its susceptibility towards agreeing with false statements made by the users was not optimal. In addition, it doesn't cite the source of provided code, and the text citations are mainly from Wikipedia. The scalability of the final code also wasn't great due to the combinatory nature of the implementation. For the key findings, the process relies on the user forming the right questions and taking time to properly understand the response instead of using responses as is. It is highly recommended to use ChatGPT for similar tasks in combination with supporting material, as doing research after the project was more effective due to supporting material alleviating the trust issues with answers. Now to the results produced by the model itself. The model couldn't be completed solely with ChatGPT and needed external references at least twice. Standard parts of the transformer model were simple to integrate into the model, but non-standardized parts, such as data preparation and training, were the most difficult parts to combine. Training of the model and hyperparameter tuning was supported well by ChatGPT recommendations. On the dataset of roughly 170,000 sample translations and a test set consisting of 10,000 offset samples, the test bilingual evaluation understudy score was 0.59 and the test accuracy was 0.70, which at very least would indicate decent performance on the set. The translations produced by the transformer also mostly seem good, with most errors stemming from slight wording differences. The average bilingual evaluation understudy score based on sequence length looks as follows, partly affected by the fact that the dataset didn't contain very long sequences. By looking at produced attention weights of the final layer, it can be determined that the heads have formed very specific and sensible focuses respectively, as can be seen from the main focuses of head 1 being on the question word, or by head 6 focusing on the word yesterday in English and French respectively. As for the conclusion, based on the findings, ChatGPT can be a useful tool when combined with references as ground truths to alleviate from the aforementioned issues. Although ChatGPT couldn't be properly utilized in isolation, it still had many helpful properties along the way. The lacking parts mentioned under the negative findings should also be taken into account when applying ChatGPT, as to prevent confusion. Future improvements for the project would be to test the resulting model on a benchmark set such as WMT 2014, if the performance needs to be measured to the similar models. Another idea would be to choose an even more specific theme with less available training data, as ChatGPT handled transformers at least relatively well.